half hour to 40 minutes tops, but probably closer to half hour once we get started, and then we'll go from there, right? In 1 second. Hey, good morning / evening for everyone over in the UK. Welcome to the official Josh Taylor media Zoom call for Saturday nights / afternoons fight. Josh Taylor will be defending his WBA and IBF junior welterweight world titles against IBF #1 contender Apinun Khongsong. His first bout since unifying world titles in an absolute thriller against Regis Prograis last October. Since you've last seen Josh, there have been a lot of new changes in his career. He enters this bout with a new promoter, Top Rank, a new advisory managerial group in MTK Global, and a new trainer in Ben Davidson, who is best known for being one of the prime architects behind the comeback of one Tyson Fury. This is a significant bout for Josh as he continues his quest to become the first undisputed junior welterweight world champion since Terrence Bud Crawford knocked out Julius Ndongo a few years back. A few programming notes for you guys. Taylor Khongsong and a full slate of undercard bouts will stream live on ESPN Plus in the United States beginning at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. And over in the UK, BT Sport 1 will have coverage of all the bouts starting at 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time. Joining us on the call today is Josh, as you see in front of you, Top Rank Chairman Bob Arum, and Ben Davidson, all of whom are on the call. Quick housekeeping before we get to the opening statements. If you'd like to ask a question, please use the request button on the Zoom call, or you can send me a private message in the chat button. So you can either ask to unmute or send me a private message in the chat, and I'll get you in the queue to ask questions. So before we get to that, I'm going to turn things over to the unified junior welterweight world champion, Josh Taylor. Josh, welcome. It's been a long time coming. It's been almost a year since you've been in the ring. With all these changes going on, how does it feel to finally get back in the ring and do what you do best?
Yeah, it's been a good year, but to be honest, it's actually quite relatively flown in, to be honest. And it's with all the changes, with new coach, new management, new promoter. You know, everything was just brand new. So actually, I think this COVID and the breakdown, everything, the lockdown and that kind of worked in my favour, because I was able to have a little bit more time with Ben to get to know him and you know, work alongside him. So yeah, we're working really well. We clicked straight away, and you know, everything's good. And it's good to get back in the ring. It's good to finally get back inside the ring and fight. Although it's a different atmosphere this time with no fans being there, but we've been practicing and replicating that experience in the gym. So we don't think there's going to be any issues. We're rocking and ready to go on Saturday night. We can't wait to get in there and hopefully put on a nice, strong performance.
Now I turn over to Bob. Bob, Top Rank signed Josh back in January. Obviously, he was scheduled to come back in May, and COVID put a halt to that. But Bob, how excited are you to finally see Josh Taylor back in the ring almost 9 months after Top Rank signed him?
Well, I'm excited, but I'm also disappointed. I'm excited because it's great to see Josh back in the ring. I'm very disappointed because who would have believed that when we signed him, we wouldn't, our people, our staff, myself, wouldn't be in attendance at his first fight under the Top Rank banner. But it is what it is. And in these times, we're just happy that the fight is going to be on. It's going to be shown on ESPN Plus, which has now grown to almost 15 million subscribers. And we know we'll get a tremendous number of fans watching in the United States, and many, many fans as well watching in the UK on BT television. And so we're very excited that this fight is happening. And without counting our chickens before they hatch, if Josh is successful, as we've talked, next year we plan to have him face the other unified junior welterweight champion, Jose Ramirez, in what should be really one of the marquee fights of 2021.
Thank you, Bob. And before we get to questions, Ben Davidson, you there, Ben?
I'm here.
There he is. So obviously, Ben, welcome. You've been training Josh in London. You were over in Las Vegas for a spell, and I believe you were in Marbella. So you've been 3 different countries. You've been training Josh. Obviously, he's been out of the ring for a while, but can you talk about sort of the benefit of having an extended training camp as you sort of get adapted to one another?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Josh has cut me off of achieving what he's achieved, but you know, it's amazing to think that he's achieved what he's achieved, but he's still relatively early in his career. So it's great to have been able to have some time to really implement those changes, and it's really starting to come together just at the perfect time. The little nuances that we've worked on, I'm starting to see Josh just do them without thinking, and that's what you're looking to achieve. So that'll all come together for Saturday night, that's for sure.
Thank you, Ben. And a reminder to everybody, if you'd like to ask a question, please click the raise hand mechanism in the Zoom, or send me a private message on the chat. So just please do that. As a reminder, since I'm getting a lot of questions, this whole press conference will be available on the Top Rank YouTube channel shortly after it concludes. And all the video channels, you can feel free to bite content from that for your own channels. Feel free to use it. So that should answer everybody's questions. And Bob, Josh, and Bob, all 3 will be available for questions. So ask a question of whomever you would like. So we are going to get started here with John Gretchen. I hope I pronounced that right, John. Please go ahead when ready.
It's creaking, but it's close enough. Hi, Josh. How you doing?
How you doing? Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Good. Aye, no bad. Listen, you'll have never spent this long between fights before in your career. And so the time since the Progress fight, how have you been filling that time? How much does it affect you? I mean, apart from watching Cobra Kai. What have you been doing?
Yeah, watched a little bit of Cobra Kai and brushing up on my old karate, taekwondo skills, doing a little bit of practicing, but yeah, not much. It's actually been pretty good. It was probably my first real break from boxing since I turned professional, 5 years ago. It's just been fight after fight after camp, really just grinding it out and training all the time and never really getting a bit time off to relax and just chill out. So the first when we come back from Vegas, when I was training with Billy Joe and Ben out there when he was preparing for Canelo, we had to obviously come back. I got home, and I took like 2, 3, maybe almost a month, sort of just relaxing, just completely chilling out and switching off from boxing. Spent some real good time with my family, and my loved ones, that I never really got to spend before, So I just chilled out and forgot about boxing and recharged my batteries, and that was a pretty good time to sit and reflect and what I'd achieved in the sport in such short period of time, So I got a good sense of pride. It was the first time I ever got to sit back and sort of realize what I'd done. So after like 3-4 weeks, not really doing much at all, I got back into training, back hitting the roads, back in the gym. I built a gym out in my garage in the house. So I built a good state-of-the-art gym, lots of treadmills, weights, and a couple of bags in there, and all sorts of equipment. So I started get working out again, getting fit, and speaking to Ben during that time, and we figured out that during lockdown, Spain was still open for training. There was no really any restrictions, so we booked the first available flight from Britain over to Spain and trained over there for a good month, and then we come back here and straight into training. So we've been back here for the last 3 months. So it's been great. It's actually been worked out in my favour, I think. With the new coach and new setup that I've got, I've settled in really nice now, and I feel at home. And Ben and I are really clicking and getting on like a house on fire. It's the start of a really good friendship. So we're really happy with the way things are going, and I think it's actually worked out in my favour. Yeah.
Thank you, John. And my apologies for butchering your last name. I'm sure I'll do it again. So my apologies in advance. Also, next up, we go ahead to the Athletics' Sarah Shepard. Sarah, please unmute and ask when ready.
Thanks, guys. Hi, Josh. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thank you. So this will be the first time in 16 pro fights, in your whole career that there'll be someone new in your corner. Have you guys, have you spoken to Ben about, the approach that you like to take in between rounds, or is that something that you kind of figure out as you go along on the night?
No, well, we've spent a hell of a lot of time in the gym together now. So and then sparring, we work on what we do, we train how we fight. We do everything. We do everything in the gym how we do on fight night. So on fight night, nothing's going to be any different. We've worked with each other long enough now to understand what I like and what I don't like, and what he likes and what he doesn't like. So it's not going to be an issue that at all. We're working in the gym and working with each other every day. So that's not going to be an issue at all.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to try to get to everybody's questions, but there's a long queue. So thank you, everybody, for raising your hand. We will go ahead next to Danny Flexen. Danny, please go ahead when ready. Danny Flexen, you're on. Going once.
Yeah, sorry, I was unmuted, but my video wasn't on. How you doing? Hi, Josh.
Hey, Danny. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good. Thanks.
Good. Just wanted to ask about the recent addition to the gym of Lee McGregor, who's someone that you've worked with as a stablemate in the past several times. Has that kind of given you guys a bit of a boost? Are you even happier now in camp that you've got a friend with you?
Yeah, well, yeah, you've answered your own question there, Danny. Yeah, 100%. It's good to have one of my close friends in the gym with me again. As a stablemate. It's good having another fellow Scotsman in the gym, and a guy from the same city as well. So we're going through this journey together again. you know, and we get to spend some good quality time in between training sessions and things like that, you know. So yeah, it's great. It's great for morale in the camp, you know, and great for Lee as well. You know, he's a great young and up and coming fighter himself. So it's great for him to be in the camp with myself, you know, and learning from me and taking things on board and learning from me. So yeah, I think it's good for the two of us, really good for the two of us, then good for morale in camp for sure, 100%. Yeah. And I think Lee's going to go on and do great things in the sport. I think he's got big titles ahead of him. He's already British and Commonwealth champion in only 9 fights. So he's now fighting for the European champion in his 10th fight. So he's got abundance of talent, and I think he's going to go ahead and do good things in the sport. So yeah, it's great having him in camp. Yeah, 100%, Danny.
Thank you very much, Danny. Next, we go ahead to Jordan Elgott. Jordan, please go ahead.
Hi, Josh. Yeah, Jordan here from BBC Sports Scotland. I know you'll be totally focused on this fight on Saturday night, and I think since every fight, every interview, you've been asked about Jose Ramirez. Already, we've had Bob mention him next year. But I think that's because he's the next big fight. That's what people view it as. But if we look on the other side for Apinun Khongsong, this is his big fight. So how dangerous is that for you, his mentality going into this fight?
Yeah, it's very dangerous, you know, and I've actually, you know, said this a couple of times in a couple of other interviews that, you know, it's his big chance to really change his life, not only to become world champion, but unified world champion, because he was getting the chance at 3 belts. He's getting the IBF, the WBA, and the Ring magazine. So there's a massive opportunity to really change his life. I know what my mindset is, and especially when I was up and coming, you know, it's just it's very dangerous. It's his massive chance. He'll be for sure bringing his A game, and you know, he's relatively unknown. There's only limited footage of him as well. So it is dangerous, you know, 100%, especially if I switch off and think it's going to be you know, a blow-over fight and things like that, you know, because it's 100% not. You know, it only takes one punch in boxing, and you've seen it happen in recent history a couple of times, you know. So I've got my eyes firmly on the prize, and that's on Saturday. I'm not thinking about the next fights or the next whatever's happening next. You know, it's all about Saturday and getting the job done and getting the job done well, and that's what I want to do.
Thank you. And then next we move on to Gareth A. Davies. Gareth, please shoot when ready.
Good afternoon, London calling here. Bob, hello. Josh, hello. Ben, hello. Evan, hello. Hello, Crystal. Good to see you not in swimwear today. I just wanted to. Crystal was in swimwear last time by a pool. I just wanted to ask, just to rewind a little bit. Muhammad Ali, Marvin Hagler, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Vasyl Lomachenko. You are with one of the legendary promoters now, Josh. Yeah. Can you just talk a little bit about that, about what it means to have that fire lit under you, to have the promotional genius? Bob's been around as long as the Ark, yeah? So what it means to have that promotional genius behind you and what that helps you with in camp and in your career.
Yeah, well, it was my first choice and when changing promoter, because I believe he's the best in the game. He's got the biggest platform in the business as well, you know, and especially for myself to tap into my US sort of fan base, you know, Bob is the man. Bob is the main man, you know. He's got the biggest platform, the biggest viewerships, all the biggest fighters all under his banner. So this is the banner that I want to be with, you know, all the best fighters that are even in and around my sort of way are with Bob. So it makes these fights dead easy to happen. You know, it makes some fights really easy to happen. The boxing politics don't get in the way in terms of like other promoters and this and that and broadcasts and all this sort of carry on. The only thing that it really has to get discussed is where the fight's going to be, and that's it really, you know. And it's pretty simple. And yeah, I'm hugely delighted to be part of this team, you know. And the next chapter in my career is going to be even better than the first one. So I can't wait. I can't wait to get going. Yeah.
Am I allowed a very quick one for Bob Ev or not?
Yes, one more, of course, Gareth.
And Bob, Ken Buchanan was an Edinburgh guy. Josh has got a relationship going back in history with Ken Buchanan. Are you looking at Edinburgh potentially for that fight?
Yeah, I mean, Edinburgh is a beautiful, beautiful city. Josh and I were talking about the fact that it's, in effect, a university town. I've never done a fight in Edinburgh, although years ago I did a fight, I remember, in Glasgow. Glasgow is a little bit of a hard scrabble town compared to Edinburgh. But I'm looking forward to Edinburgh because a lot of the kids in the United States, my grandson, when they go abroad, a lot of them go to Edinburgh to do, university work and visit friends. So, yeah, I mean, and as far as Jose Ramirez is concerned, he said to me, he doesn't care where the fight is. Wherever it's economically best to do the fight, he's it for it. Whether he means him going to Scotland or to London or doing it back in the United States, wherever the fight makes the most sense, the fight will happen. Josh has, of course, a job to do on Saturday. That's a funny thing, Garrett. You got this Thai guy who looks like he's heavy-handed, but who has he really fought in his career? Most of his opponents are unknown to us, but he looks like he's a big puncher. So you have to watch out, and Josh will have his work cut out for him, and hopefully he'll be victorious, and then we can start planning the unification of the 4 titles.
Thank you, Gareth. Next we go to, from Scotland, Jamie Borthwick, who's got one question for Josh and then one question for Bob. Jamie, go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to pick straight up with Bob, if that's all right, actually, because it kind of comes off of that. Obviously, we are really excited to have Josh fight back in Edinburgh again soon and hopefully, bring a big title fight here. But let's be honest, Vegas is the center of the universe when it comes to boxing. Is Josh the sort of guy who can, be a star there, have his name in lights in Las Vegas and when he takes a title fight there?
Well, you understand, right now, if Josh fought in Las Vegas, maybe it wouldn't have a big impact. But if he fights Ramirez in Las Vegas, Ramirez has a tremendous Hispanic following. A lot of Scots would come over to Las Vegas, particularly once the coronavirus was a thing of the past, and it would be a massive fight. Yeah, and it's a great introduction to the American audience. His fight live in the United States against Ramirez. Boxing fans all saw his fight with Prograis, and so boxing writers in the United States and so forth put him in the top category of pound for pound fighters. But again, whether the fight's in the United States, in Las Vegas, or it's in Scotland, it's going to be a great, great fight. And let's just hope everything goes well on Saturday. So it becomes a reality.
So just quickly then, Josh, it must put a fire under you when you hear, talk about where you're going to fight these huge fights. But you talked about no complacency, that, that must play into it. You can't get to these places without taking care of business just now.
Yeah, 100%. Every fight is as important as the last one. It's I'm not looking forward past this guy at all. I don't know. Everybody keeps saying next and inspecting this, but I think I'm the only person that's not looking past him. Myself and my team and Ben, we're not looking past him. We're fully concentrated on him because we can't afford no slip ups. We're at the final hurdle of these big fights that I've always dreamed of. So yeah, I'm not looking forward past this guy at all, not one bit. So my mind is fully focused on this job.
Thank you, Jamie. And next we move on to somebody that Josh, you'll be meeting very soon. ESPN's own Bernardo Osuna. Bernardo, go ahead.
Hey, Josh. Good to meet you over this medium at
Yeah.
least for now. Looking forward to actually having you in front of us and having these conversations in the lead up to whatever fight comes next. But I'll be calling the fight on Saturday here in the United States on ESPN Plus, and I'm really interested to know, and this question's for you and Ben Davidson, what have you guys specifically been working on? Because when we look at that amazing fight that you had with Regis Prograis, you were able to bully the bully and really do some different things in the ring. But I know that there was some concern in terms of developing defensively, footwork. What have you and Ben been working on specifically for this fight to turn you into that complete fighter that you know you can be?
Well, that's when you'll just need to wait on Saturday and see. We've been working on a lot of things. It's not just one thing. We've been working on loads of things. Just brushing up on the skills that I already have. And making my strengths even stronger and making my weaknesses a little bit stronger as well. But we're working sort of in all areas. We're working on improving in all areas. So you'll see on Saturday that what we've been working on and what we've kind of been trying to do and achieve in recent times, so you'll see that on Saturday, and it'll be a good performance. I feel I'm going to put on a good performance.
I ask Ben a question.
Yep.
Ben, so you saw what Josh could do on tape, maybe even in person before. What surprised you the most about what he's capable of doing in the gym, the way he picks things up and by his IQ?
The biggest thing that actually impressed me is actually the way he sets himself goals. Someone that's achieved what he's achieved in just 16 fights. He become world champion, wanted to become unified world champion, achieved that. Now he wants to be undisputed, and he just keeps setting himself new goals and new goals and new goals. And that for me is something that often a lot of fighters lack when they get to the top level. You don't really see fighters. And a big part of it is believing in themselves, and Josh believes in himself, and that's a key trait to have if you really want to keep going on and achieving more in the sport like Josh does.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Josh. Next, we go over to Jake Donovan from Boxing Scene. Jake, you should be unmuted. Go ahead, sir.
Great. Thanks, Evan. Hey, Josh, I wanted to ask, because I know you're not looking past Khongsong this weekend. I just wanted to know, what are some of the things you believe that he does well that maybe some of the fans who aren't familiar with him or perhaps overlooking?
He's got good timing. He's got an unorthodox kind of unrhythmic bounce. But he's good at luring his opponents in. On top of that, at the back of that, they think he's not ready to punch or in position to punch. And then he springs an attack when they come in to go attack him and see if he's not in punching position. So he's very got good timing, on the unorthodox kind of rhythm, and punches through the target, and looks like he's sort of heavy-handed. He's got the same record as me, but one more knockout, and he looks like he punches through the target and is quite heavy-handed. So we're fully prepared for Saturday, and we're expecting a tough fight, and a guy that's going to have good explosive power in front of him, and a hungry guy. So we think it's going to be quite tough going, especially early doors. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes on Saturday. But I think ultimately, I don't think it's going to have nothing that I've not seen before. But we just need to wait until that first bell rings.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Josh. And I wanted to ask you too, since the World Boxing Super Series has obviously changed your life, if you had any thoughts on the cruiserweight final, which is finally happening, actually the same day as your fight.
Yeah, I know it's a bit of a pity I'm not going to be able to watch it, because all the WBSS fights and finals have been great, entertaining fights, and I think that's one of the good concepts about it. It provides top world class boxing without the boxing politics. It's the best be the best, and it's an amazing concept. I think it's really good, and I hope it continues for the future.
Thank you, Jake. And next we go to Chris Ridgway. Chris, go ahead, please. Chris, you're up. Yes, sir. Hey, Chris, you're having problems with it sounds like you're on a spaceship, Chris.
Chris sounds like he's in the back of a Hooters.
Don't tell anyone.
Hey, Chris. We'll get back to you next. Let's get your audio situated, and we'll get back to you in a minute. All right. Carlos Toro, please shoot when ready.
Hey guys, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. I mean, quick question for Bob. I mean, obviously, I know the end goal is to get Taylor, provided that he beats Khongsong on Saturday, to get Taylor versus Ramirez in 2021. But obviously, with the ever-changing nature of the pandemic and everything that's been going on, how fluid are those plans and the timing of everything? Is that a fight that you guys are willing to put on even without fans, or that's something that you are kind of steadfast on, and that's a fight that you do need to have fans in attendance?
Well, you know, when the pandemic hit and we couldn't do boxing, we worked for 2 months to get protocols to allow us to do boxing without fans in a bubble. We were the originator of the bubble concept, which the basketball, the NBA followed, and other promoters followed. Now we go into the second phase, because assuming that the coronavirus will still be with us and that the vaccination of massive number of people will not be happening until sometime at the end of next year, we are now working on a new protocol with the state of Nevada, which will allow us to do fights with a limited number of spectators, where everyone in the state will have been tested and will be tracked before they. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's now in the embryonic stage, but we hope to have it ready as early as December. And that will then open up the ability, at least in the United States and Nevada, to do fights in a safe environment with spectators. And hopefully that protocol can be adopted if it works, and I believe it will. We have all big medical experts working on it. In the United Kingdom, I had a talk this morning with Eddie Hearn about the fact that once we get this protocol approved and up and running, we're going to send it to him so he can have the British Boxing Board and the medical authorities review it, and hopefully he can begin to do fights over in the UK with a limited audience.
Thank you, Carlos. And now we are going to move ahead to take two with Chris Ridgway. Chris, let's see if the second time's a charm.
Hopefully,
All right, Chris, you were still located on a spaceship. I apologize. So we will get you next time, sir. So my apologies for that. Next, we'll go over to Ron Lewis. Ron, please go ahead.
Hi there. Hi there. Can I ask quickly, Bob, first thing, the fight you're talking about in Glasgow, I presume it was a Jim Watt fight. Was it Howard Davis or Sean O'Grady?
Howard Davis.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Good memories. And Josh, your last experience, I believe at York Hall, was one of only 2 defeats you've ever had at light welterweight. You've come a long way since then. And what was that a great learning experience for you? And the few defeats you've had, the Olympics and the first Commonwealth Games, how they built into the character you are now?
Yeah, well, first of all, that defeat you're talking about was a daylight robbery. A double count back on Scotland versus England match in the heart of London, and a double count back is daylight robbery. And you're talking about probably a good 10, at least 10 years ago.
9 years
so
ago.
Yeah, So it's a decade ago, and it's that was being and gone. I won that fight hands down. So I never got the decision. It's amateur boxing is terrible at times. Really bad with terms of decision making and all that sort of stuff. So I never took anything from that. I knew I won that fight, and it's more the other sort of experiences as an amateur. When going to the Olympic, going to the World Championships, and going to the Delhi 2010, just missing out on a gold medal, and then just missing out on a medal at the Olympics, again through crappy scoring. It's that they just made me more determined to be better. That wasn't the fact that I'd done anything wrong, or anything like that. Actually, I thought I boxed really well in the Olympics. It was just the point scoring at the time was terrible, and that was it really. It just made me more determined to win and succeed. That's all. I never really took any lessons from the actual events. It was just made me more determined to win.
Thank you very much, Ron. And now we shift things over to Jim Black. Jim, when ready, please go ahead.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, Josh. Nice to see you in the flesh. And to see also that the film style looks haven't been affected by COVID-19. Listen, you talked earlier about mindset. How important, your mindset now after 6 years and what you've achieved, how important is mindset in the overall scheme of things?
I think it's the most important thing. If your mind's not right, then you're not going to perform right. Then you're not going to put as much effort in the gym. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to go that extra mile. If your mind's not right, mindset is the most important thing in the game. And I'm even hungrier now than I was when I was up and coming. I want to achieve more in the game and achieve more in the sport, and I want to win more belts and more titles, keep Scotland on the map. I want to have these big fights in America, these big fights in Scotland, and I've got a lot more achieving that I want to do. So the fire's still firmly lit, and I'd say mindset is everything. You've got to have your mind right before anything in this game. It's too hard a game to not be in it 100% mentally.
Thank you. And next, we've got Crystal Hard, who has a question for Ben Davidson. Crystal, please go ahead when ready.
Okay. Hi, Ben Davidson. As I perceive you, I also see you as very nurturing. You were with Tyson Fury probably at the lowest point of his career when he was fighting the mental illness. Now, there's been a lot said with Josh about your friendship and mindset. Could you tell me how the relationship developed and a little bit about how you've prepared him with that mindset, and also against a Thai fighter who is also listed under martial artist?
Yeah, it's a very different situation because, as you say, when I first started working with Tyson, he was obviously suffering with a hell of a lot of problems and isn't quite the man that he is today. It was very different with Josh because Josh come to me with a sound mind, know what he wants to achieve, and knows his goals. So it was a very different situation. But with Josh, it was a case of just you have to spend that first period learning to get to know somebody. And then it's about looking at the technical side of things because everybody learns differently, because if I say some people may learn better reading from a textbook, some people may learn better from a demonstration, some may learn better from watching it being done. So it's very, very dependent, and each person's an individual. And that's what we sort of focused on here, is individualizing things for Josh and trying to work out the best way for him to develop. And I feel like we've done that. And as I said before, that all the little nuances that we've been working on are now starting to happen without him having to think. And so I'm happy with that, and definitely happy with the progress that we've made.
Thank you, Ben. And Chris Ridgway is a very industrious person. He typed out his question, so I'm going to ask it on behalf of Chris since he's in a spaceship right now. Chris asked, his question is around the pound-for-pound rankings and how much attention is paid for them. So after the WBSS and maybe he'd win, and now maybe Josh could push himself into one of the top 10 places among the pound-for-pound rankings. Josh, how seriously do you take these rankings? Is that something you look at? Is that a goal of yours to be considered one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world?
I think I should be sort of considered there or thereabouts. The pound-for-pound sort of list. I think I should be at least considered to be entered it. Given that what I've achieved in such a short period of time, in only 16 fights, I think I should be at least considered and talked about. Not forgotten about and shunned. But ultimately, I'm not really bothered. I'm not in the game to be known as pound for pound number one. I'm in the game to be world champion, to be the best I can be, and beat anyone who's put in front of me, and be the best fighter I can be. As long as I'm still winning, that's all that matters. I just want to win, and that's all that matters to me. So, that then if I keep winning, then the rankings will speak for themselves. So, I'm not really too fussed, to be honest. I'm not really too fussed at all.
Thank you, Josh. We got a couple more questions, and then we'll let you then get back to the rest of your day. We have a question here from Danny Thompson, who I believe has one for both Josh and Bob. Danny, you were unmuted. Please go ahead.
Guys, Danny Thompson with the 3-point conversion. Josh, I'm going to start with you first. This is your first fight at ESPN Plus, and this would be kind of a breaking out party for you, especially on the American side of the water. What can people expect from you who have never seen you fight before?
Tough question. Just really tune in on Saturday and see. But no, ultimately action packed. 100%. I come to fight. I'm always an entertaining fighter. I'm always in very entertaining fights, and I'm a very got a crowd pleasing style as well. I come forward. I'm aggressive. I can hit to the head, hit to the body. I can box on the front foot, back foot, everything. So you'll see hopefully a bit of everything on Saturday. And hopefully I'll give you that appetite to want to see me more. And I think that's what I'll do on Saturday. I'm going to put on a strong performance, and that's what you can expect. So all action and a fighter that can do everything.
And the next question is for Bob. Bob, over the years, you have represented and you have had some of the greatest fighters in the history of boxing that was under your wing. What did you see in Josh that reminds you of the fighters that you have represented and currently represent to bring him over the top rank?
Well, you've watched him today. He's very articulate. He's charismatic. As far as his boxing skills, they're enormous. He has all the ingredients to being a major star in the sport of boxing. Besides, he's a good-looking young man. A lot of the success we had, say with De La Hoya, was the great female following that he developed. So all the ingredients are there, and now it's up to Josh, and hopefully we'll be able to advance his career and make him the superstar that he can become.
Thank you. And next we go over to our friends over at Boxing UK. You were unmuted. Please go ahead. And after this, we'll have one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, Boxing UK. Thank you.
Thanks, Evan. Hi, Josh. It's Steve from Boxing UK.
How you doing, mate? How you doing?
Hello, mate. Josh, I just wanted to talk about the build-up to the fight and the sparring, because I would guess it's been quite frustrating for you. You've been sparring Lewis Ritson from our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
How's that gone? And was that with a specific eye on this fight, or was that just because you could get there?
Well, yeah, we're getting good sparring. You know, it was quite limited, but we're getting good sparring specific for this fight. You know, stylistically, tall guys, rangy guys, and then you know we got a bit of an injury in sparring, so we were kind of struggling a little bit for a week or so. So we managed to get. We saw Ritson was sparring up in Scotland at the time, so we gave him an ask to see if he wanted to come down, and he shot down, and yeah, it was good. It was we done 2 sessions. It was very good sparring. You know, and he's a real nice lad, very nice lad. I'd never met him face to face before, so it was good to meet him. And you know, he lived up to his expectations of being a real good, down to earth lad. And you know, we're not too similar, we're not too different, us Scots and Geordies. So yeah, it's we've had a good crack together, and real nice lad. Yeah.
but no substitute for getting in the ring, mate. I bet you're itching.
Yeah, can't wait. I can't wait to get in there on Saturday. It's been a long time out, and it's good to keep the ball rolling. Yeah, 100%.
Good, mate. Good luck on Saturday, Josh.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Lovely. Evan, can I ask Ben a question?
Of course, yes, of course.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, mate.
Hello, mate. Ben, obviously a lot of people talk about when you took over Tyson, and a lot of that was actually rebuilding the man as much as the fighter. What's it like when you get such a talented guy as Josh? Is it like you're looking for little tweaks, or is it overhaul?
Well, you can always keep improving, you know. It's the old saying, you can never stop learning this game, and it's so true, you know. And the same with Tyson. For me, if you look at the Vladimir Klitschko performance and the Wilder performances and the other performances that come after that, he improved, you know. But during the comeback, people would ask the question of, how do you improve that fighter? And it's the same with Josh, you know. He's had some phenomenal performances, got a bag full of skills. And the most important thing is knowing when, what, how, and why to use those tools. And that's really what we're focused on.
Thank you. And then we are going to close the question and answer portion of today's proceedings with Cynthia Conte. I apologize that I cannot get to everybody's questions. Josh is an extraordinarily popular guy today, so sorry about that. So my apologies. And Cynthia, please go ahead when ready.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Ben and Josh. Two questions. One it's basically Josh and Ben. Ben, I know you recently went with Carl Frampton to a fight in the UK to experience the no spectators. Talk about the initial reaction you had for that when you went, and then to back up on that question, Josh, how have you prepared Josh for something like that, since he's used to fighting in massive crowds?
Yeah, well, obviously, you know, it was going to be something different. It wasn't something that I could give information to Josh about, because I'd never experienced it before. So we made a decision to go to the show to get a feel for it. When we first walked in, it was a bit like, whoa, you know, took us back a little bit. But funny enough, it was Josh said to me, once one of the fights got going that grabbed our interest, you know, he was like, I completely forgot that there was no crowd, you know, and he actually enjoyed it. And it was exactly that, you know, and we realised from that not only did we become familiar with the surroundings, but once the action really gets going, you know, the focus is on the fight and you're not really focused on the crowd. So, yeah.
And Josh, how have you been able to prepare? Do you just think of it as a sparring session?
Well, yeah, it's kind of what we've been doing in the gym. You know, we're always trained without no music, without no talking. So it's kind of recreating the atmosphere and what's going to be like on fight night, you know. So we went to that event, the boxing event, and we saw it. And again, I touched up on, you know, once a good fight sort of got going, we totally forgot about the no crowd there, you know. So I always train in the gym and sparring without music and without talking anyway. I tend to have the gym in silence, so I don't think there's going to be any different, you know. As you're saying a sparring session, no, it's not, because it's a fight, a world title fight at the end of the day. The cameras are there, my reputation's on the line, my titles are on the line, everything. So no, it's not. It's 100% serious, and I'll be up and nervous and ready for it on Saturday night.
Good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cynthia, and before we go, guys, Bob, just your final thoughts on this event and just sort of the excitement you have in finally watching Josh Taylor perform.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Saturday. A lot of people will be watching here in the United States on ESPN Plus. Boxing people have been talking about Josh for a while now, and this will be the opportunity to see him live in a big fight, which hopefully will be the prelude to the showdown with Jose Ramirez, the fighter from the Central Valley of California, who holds the other two world belts.
And thank you, Bob and Josh. It is only fitting that we go to you for your final thoughts. Just please sign off your thoughts on the fight as we head to Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the fight on Saturday. You know, it's been a good time out from the ring, so I'm good. Looking forward to getting back in there and keeping the momentum going. You know, I feel very fit, very sharp, and you know, I'm going to put on a good, strong performance on Saturday. And I just hope everyone tunes in and enjoys the show. It's going to be a good fight, and hopefully this is the start of big things to come. Hopefully.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Ben. And a reminder to everybody: Saturday night, Saturday afternoon in the United States, 2:30 on ESPN Plus. In the UK, BT Sport 1 will have coverage at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So a nice afternoon/evening of boxing on both sides of the pond here. And we look forward to seeing you all Saturday night. And thank you to everyone who came to the call, asked questions, and participated. We greatly appreciate it. And we will see you all Saturday evening/afternoon. Thank you.